They are making Tesla the 21st century swastika. The left is doing this, and they are getting together to implement a day of rage against Teslas. March 29th, global action. What all that means on paper, does it mean that they're just going to try to stop buying Teslas and just frown upon people that have Teslas? Or are they going to actually do something? My name is Brandon Fogel. This is Evolution. Let's get into it. All right, so Teslas, I never thought that this would actually be a thing, but the more that we get into the Trump term, and now Elon Musk in the crosshairs of the woke left, it just keeps getting exponentially worse. We've seen Teslas on fire. We've seen dealerships just under impact constantly lately. There has been a reversal, though, a reaction from the Trump administration that they are actually going after people that are doing this and showing power, saying, you are going to get 20 years in prison if you are setting Teslas on fire. If you are doing this to Teslas, you have the potentiality of going to prison for 20 years. Now, would that be worth it? My whole thing is peace through strength, and what leading through strength means and how it matters for any nation. You could say an organization, you could say a company, you could say a family. But let's focus on a nation today. And we're going to take a look at, from a biblical perspective as well, in the nation of Israel and their golden age, the pinnacle period in history where they were in power, fully in power, and had like their golden age with King David and also King Solomon. And not everybody's heard of King David, but a lot of people have, and they got that new show House of David on Prime. You should check that out. For years back in the day, I thought like it'd be so cool if Hollywood and the top people started making movies about biblical events in the Bible. And I thought that was going to be a dream, but it's constant reality now. And now that they got the House of David and so many other things, The Chosen, that are just zooming in and looking at these events and these time periods in history that we would have just been for the fantasy folk of the church and of religiosity, those people, the nut jobs, the people that believe in this grandpa in the sky. We don't believe in a grandpa in the sky, but they characterize it as that. What this means, though, from leading from strength is huge for anyone, because it starts from the top and the culture gets set from the top, and the people that are a part of the culture, whether it's a nation or whether it's a business or whatever, it all stems from how the leadership wants to put forward the organization and how they believe the organization should be run. And Trump, I think, in the first 2 months of office has definitely changed the perspective and the perception of the United States. We are no longer a laughingstock, but that we are feared. And fear is a huge deal, especially when you're dealing outside of the United States. People outside of the United States need to know that you're going to take action if you step out of line and step in a way that is going to mess up the world and mess up other nations. If you fail to react and act when there is evil happening, that in itself is evil. And Trump and his team are showing power. They're showing power. And this also goes with this whole Tesla fiasco that is happening, that we are experiencing daily. I've put a link in the description about this action organization that there's websites out there that are calling for this day of rage to happen on March 29th. And you can see it right there. I'm not promoting it, but I think we should all not bury our heads in the sand, and we should be aware of it. So what can you do? First of all, I mean, become aware. That's the first thing. Speak out against it when you have opportunity. But let's take a step back and go into, I wanted to show from the Bible, and with King David, and after he passed away, basically, he was the sword and the power of God that basically extended the golden age, the golden geography of Israel. So they had all that landmass, and so that they had all that power and influence. But he did it through a lot of bloodshed. He did it through a lot of bloodshed, and that was why God said to him, you cannot build my temple because you have so much blood on your hands. But he was still used by God. There is a time for war. There's a time for peace and there's a time for war. And in that period, David had the time for war and extending God's boundary lines for the nation of Israel. Fast forward a little bit, he has his son Solomon, who comes in and is a man of peace, but it's a man of peace through strength. And that is when basically the nation of Israel had huge power and influence in this world. People were coming from afar. We're going to see that the Queen of Sheba came from afar just to see that this fantasy dream that Israel is in so much power, and then this man is running things so smoothly. She comes to see it for herself because she can't believe it. So we're going to switch screens just so you can have it in front of you. So this is where we don't hear much about 2 Chronicles, but 2 Chronicles chapter 9, and then to chapter 10, what happens after Solomon dies and what he leaves and the failures of his son in taking over and extending and continuing to extend that power that Israel has. Because this is a pinnacle period in history. So this is basically 1000 BC that this is happening. 1000 BC. So basically 3,000 years ago. 3,000 years ago. But when Solomon has power, we're going to look at this. In chapter 9, I just want to read this to you. A couple verses. Basically, his wealth was just astronomical. It says that now when the Queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon, she came to Jerusalem to test him with hard questions, having a great retinue and camels bearing spices and very much gold and precious stones. And when she came to Solomon, she told him all that was on her mind. So basically, the Queen of Sheba comes and gets all her questions answered, and she is in awe. She cannot believe it. That Solomon's servants are just running this place so smoothly, and it's just like heaven on earth. But Solomon was leading through strength, and we see all the wealth he had accumulated. It said, now the weight of the gold that Solomon came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold, and then it says all these things. Basically, what the GDP of his nation was just through the roof. Their imports was a lot better than their exports. No, mate. Either way, I keep getting that confused. But his imports, basically, they were bringing in so much wealth, and they were selling to other nations all that they were creating. So they brings all this wealth, and it's just this beautiful period in history. But then after Solomon leaves, after he dies and passes away and transfers his kingdom to his son, Rehoboam, basically the nation kind of comes up in arms, and they say, like, we love your father. We know the amazing things he's done, but he was a man that basically he drove us hard. He was very hard on us. And we are proposing to you, either you change, take off the hand that you have on us, let us breathe a little, because we're just being overworked to death. All this revenue that we're generating it's basically on our backs, and we're being brought down, and we cannot continue to do this. So they give Rehoboam a proposal. And in chapter 10, we're going to skip to that. Rehoboam, his son, and he goes to his friends. He has the option to go to his friends, and he has the option to go to the more wiser men that were a part of Solomon's regime or administration, whatever you want to call it. And he chooses to go to his friends, they say to him, tell them, however hard my father was on you, I'm going to be 10 times harder on you. And the more older gentlemen were saying, no, take it easy, back off a little, and they will love you for life. Rehoboam, in his young spirit, decided to follow his friends, and he says to the people, he says, no, my finger is going to be bigger than my father's waist. So he tries to overstep, and which is a terrible way to go about it. And they react and revolt. And that is where the divided kingdom happens. So there is a sense where we need to lead through strength, lead in power. But if you overstep and you go too far, people are going to revolt. So it's this delicate balance that leaders have to keep in mind when they are running the show. And I think Trump is in this balancing act. He has to show power so that he can implement fear against other nations. But if he goes too hard, people in our country are going to revolt. And I think people are already revolting. People can't stand him already. But at least you respect him. I would say at least you respect his policy, what he's doing, because he's already made so many changes and so many hostages are being released. So many wars are coming to end that started when he was out of term, that we can respect that. So I think it's just a huge deal, keeping that in mind. The person that you want to be. Do you want to be a person that leads in strength or leads in weakness? That shows cowardice, that shows apologies nonstop. That's one thing about Trump. He does not apologize. I don't know if I've ever heard him apologize. And you can say that's terrible, or you could say, at least he's consistent. At least he's consistent. But then let's take this at a personal level for you in your life. Are you a person that has the opportunity, wherever you're placed, to lead through strength? But you can't overstep. Don't be stupid like Rehoboam and overstep. Basically, bite off more than you can chew. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't try to just flex when you don't have nothing to flex. Trump at this time, he's got something to flex. The United States is still the dominant superpower in the world. We got something to flex, and we better keep it that way. We want to keep it that way. God help us that we keep it that way. So I think he should continue doing what he's doing. And we need to snuff out these people that want to just try to make Teslas a swastika sign. Because that is the deal. It is becoming that. And I predict it is going to get far, far worse. This is the beginning. They got 4 more years of this, and this is all happening in the first 2 months. They are going to basically denigrate and make Teslas, Elon Musk, everything they're doing, the most evil thing in the world. Everything is just, it keeps getting worse and worse. And it's like, will it ever cool down? I don't know. I don't think it will. And I think it's going to get a lot worse. So it's being prepared for this. Standing for truth, standing for what is good, standing for what is right is the big deal of the day. Don't overstep. Lead through strength in whatever you do, but don't overstep. And when you have the respect of the people that are around you, then you can show grace. Then you can show mercy. And that is the ultimate power. That is the ultimate strength. When you have that, you have people's respect and you're able to lead through strength and power, and then you can extend grace. So keep that in mind, whatever you're doing in your life, however things are going, and keep evolving to the greatest person that you know you can be.